previous episode, I talked about how to define your data goals based on the business goals they're supposed to achieve. I said that becoming truly data-driven is really about answering two key questions. Question one is, of course, how can data help us to achieve our business goals? Question two is, what needs to be done to make that happen? In this episode, I'm going to cover that second question. If you want to hear me talk about the first question, go and check out episode number 8. So to become truly data-driven, the thing that we need to focus on is data capabilities, because the simple answer to the question of what is it we need to do is we need to acquire the right data capabilities and use those capabilities in the right ways. So what are data capabilities? Well, collectively, data capabilities are simply the things that we need to have or the things we need to do in order to achieve our data goals in ways that achieve our business goals. If you've watched the previous episodes, you'll know that that really is the true definition of data-driven. Data is driving our business to achieve its goals. So over the next few minutes, I'll tell you how to define your data capabilities and then express them and communicate them in a data strategy that will make you truly data-driven and not just data busy. Pinpointing exactly what are the right data capabilities for a specific or often unique business can be challenging for one or both of two reasons. Those capabilities can either appear to be very generalized or they can appear to be the opposite, very specialized. So when capabilities appear generalized, they can seem vague, and that creates this sense of not really knowing what's required. Everything just feels too theoretical. Take the data capability of data cataloging, for example. So data cataloging is something that many organizations want to acquire when they have chaotic data flows to solve or siloed data infrastructure. But that realization is often coupled with a question of what does effective data cataloging actually look like? Think back to how I described data capabilities a moment ago. I said that they are the things that any business needs to have or do in order to achieve its data goals. When it comes to a capability like data cataloging, it can simply be difficult for organizations to understand exactly what is it they need to have or do to catalog their data effectively. And when we're faced with that opposite scenario, when a data capability appears to be very specialized, we're faced with a similar situation where it's hard to understand precisely what it is that we need to have or do. So an example this time could be something like data security, because every business knows that data security is important. Of course, we need to keep the business and people safe from data risks. But again, what does that actually look like? Is data security something that we install on a server, or is it somebody we employ in a role, or is it a set of processes we implement? What exactly do we mean when we talk about a data capability for data security? The fact is that sooner rather than later, on the journey towards becoming truly data-driven, you're going to need to take your data strategy and make it real. You'll need to define real-world data capabilities that strike a really important balance between being simple enough for people to understand and support, but at the same time being comprehensive and detailed enough for people to believe in and know how to implement. It stands to reason that if your data strategy is too complex, then there's going to be some people in your business who aren't going to engage with it, they're not going to understand it, and therefore they're not going to be able to support it. But by the same token, if your data strategy is too simplistic, there's also going to be people who aren't going to buy into it. They're not going to believe that it's implementable, they're not going to trust that it's going to make the difference that's required. So just how do you define your data capabilities? Well, here's 3 ways that you can strike that essential balance. The first way is by categorizing your data capabilities into one of just 4 categories. It's a really interesting and useful fact that every single data capability you can think of fits inside one of just 4 categories. And by grouping your data capabilities in that way, you can present them in a data strategy and communicate them in ways that makes them very simple for people to understand and support. Those 4 categories of data capability, they are data value, data compliance, data governance, and data operations. Data value capabilities are those required to position your data as a high-value business asset. Data compliance capabilities, they keep your business and people safe from data risks. Data governance capabilities are those that attain and maintain high levels of data quality. And data operations capabilities are those that keep everything that you do with your data cost-effective and efficient. So if you take a moment to think about that, you'll probably have this aha moment when you realize that as complex as enterprise data management can often seem, everything really just boils down into those 4 dimensions: data value, data compliance, data governance, and data operations. The second thing you need to do is see your data capabilities through 3 lenses. And that's because when it comes to specifying data capabilities inside each of those 4 dimensions, there's really just 3 things that each data capability needs to do. Number 1, define what the data capability needs to deliver for your business. Number 2, operate the systems and processes that will deliver it. Number 3, continually measure how well that data capability is performing. So let me give you an example of this using the data capability I mentioned earlier on in this episode, which is data cataloging. In simple terms, you would say that your data cataloging capability is all about having an inventory of what data your business has, where those data are, and how they got there. That's the define lens. Of course, it's also about using that inventory to record things like data standards and improve data literacy, and that's the operate lens. And data cataloging is also about monitoring how much your data inventory is being accessed, how much it's being applied in things like improving data literacy. So that's that final measure lens. And the third thing you can do is to use the 4DDX data strategy framework, because here's some good news. Everything that I've been talking about has already been done for you. 4DDX contains a range of 21 data capabilities that have all been specified using those 3 lenses and then grouped into those 4 dimensions. And that's where 4DDX gets its name. It stands for 4-dimensional data excellence. So really the best way for you to define your data capabilities in a way that's perfectly balanced between simple and comprehensive is to go and use the 4DDX framework. You can do that simply by visiting 4ddx.app. It's completely free, so go and check it out. So to wrap up then, data capabilities, they really are the keys to becoming truly data-driven. And to acquire the right keys, the right data capabilities, you need to specify them in enough detail to make them believable and implementable, but also communicate them in ways which are simple enough for people to understand and support. So use the techniques that I've described in this episode to strike that balance, and also use the 4DDX framework to make that as simple and as straightforward and as quick as possible. So if you're looking for further help developing and implementing a successful data strategy, just head on over to datastrategy.how, and there you'll find a fully comprehensive, in-depth guide that will tell you everything you need to know. As always, just finish off by saying I hope you found this episode useful. If you have, please like and subscribe, click on that bell icon, and then you'll get notified when I upload more episodes about how to get data done.